Hey there, Postal here. So today we're taking out, well, we're going to take out a couple different planes. We're taking them out because we're still working on our 600,000 damage to ground targets. And so let's take out some tier 10 ground attackers, right? Right now we're going to be taking a look at the IL-40P. Of the two, I like both the tier 10 ground attackers, but of the two, this is my least favorite, simply because it's lacking in one area that is really a necessity at tier 10, in my opinion. Let's talk about all the strengths of this plane. Well, you've basically, when you get to a sector, you're gonna capture it. You've got 2 bombs. You've got 8 rockets. You've got 4 23mm cannons, which don't sound overly crazy over the top, but you don't need them to be because you've got such balance. They do what they need to do, and as such, you're gonna, take out sectors. This plane really is very good at just straight up capturing zones. In my opinion, once it's at the sector, it's going to be better at actually capturing the zone than the 1102B. But hold that thought. Some more good things about this plane. It has a really good amount of hit points. I've got mine up above 2,800, and I'm pretty sure I could probably get it to about 3,000 by the time I'm done maxing out the specialization on this plane. Probably even higher than that. Probably like 31 or 3,200. Yeah, so I mean, what else do you need to know, right? It's literally a flying tank that captures sectors. But as I mentioned, once you get there, the biggest downfall of this plane is its complete lack of speed. You can get it to 400 miles an hour, but it will take all of your boost, and it will immediately, as soon as you let off the boost, slow down significantly. It does not like to go fast. It does not want to be there. It is not its natural state. And as such, it's really hampered at tier 10. Remember, tier 10 is the land of the bombers. You've got Su-10s. You've got EF-131s. You've got these planes that are just going a million miles an hour around the sectors. Ooh, I can't believe I actually survived that. Capturing sectors in a blink of an eye, and in that blink of an eye, you're still trying to get to a sector and be effective. Now, once you get to that sector, you are ridiculously effective. Don't get me wrong, that's not what we're talking about here, right?
The enemy has captured our plant.
But
Get it back under our control.
it just takes you forever to actually get there, and because it takes you so damn long to actually get there. Did I ram him? Cool. Perfect. I'll take that. Problem is, now I'm gonna spawn right underneath where he's gonna spawn right above where I'm going. But, c'est la vie. What can you do about it? Nothing, because I don't have the airspeed to go anywhere. And again, it's the biggest downfall of this plane. As much as I like it, look at me going 250 miles an hour. Like, that's tier 5 fighter speed, right? It's not very good. It's downright frustrating when you need to be somewhere quickly. Oh, I probably shouldn't have shot that guy. I think he was going to ignore me up until then. Maybe I can sneak over this way. Ha ha ha! Did he just crash? They've got both mining facilities while I'm having to deal with BS, you know what I mean? So again, just reinforces the struggles that this plane can have. Yeah, it can be frustrating. I love it. Once you get to a sector, you're like, hey, guess what? This sector is going to be mine now. I am going to own this sector, and there's not a lot you can do about it except, you know, get here and shoot me. And even then, I've got such a significant amount of hit points and survivability that it's not going to be an easy thing to just kill me. Let's drop a bomb right there. There we go. Perfect. So on that note, what are we going to do? Let's go across the center here. Used all my boost. There's an 1101. I don't really care. I'm at half health, which means I'm at 1600 health. Obviously, I'm a little bit more than half health, but you get what I'm talking about. So now you get to see the, you know, the downfall of this plane. It's like, come on. Like, if I could just be there, I'd own that crap. So this plane's really good in a flight. You know, every flight makes every plane 10 times stronger. But it's just one of those planes that really kind of, it's not a necessity per se, but it's highly recommended, is what we'll say. Simply because you need somebody to be a pain in the butt to the enemy team. Because your job is to be a pain in the butt to the ground. And so you need some other people to be a pain in the butt elsewhere. Bombs away there. Got an Efimov, which is super nice. And a Thunderer. Hopefully I don't die here. That guy just rocketed me. Because of course he did. I would normally be like kind of pumping the cannons here. Oh, come on. Oh, you jerk. What a jerk. Normally you try to tap the cannons, right? You've only got 4 23mm cannons, so you don't want to just hold them down. If you hold them down, they will overheat eventually, even if it takes a while. Unfortunately, these games with 2 mines on them can be done kind of quickly. I think I'm going to go this way and hope that they capture this garrison. Are you going to capture the garrison? You're not going to capture the garrison. I don't think. I was going to say game's over anyway. Yep.
I'm proud of you, pilots. Head back home.
Got a Lang, got an Efimov, got a Thunderer. This plane does that easily, in my opinion. I've probably got more Efimovs in this plane, and Langs for that matter, than like any other plane in the game. But it can still struggle just to be effective because of its speed. Let's take a look at the 1102B now. Alright, so now we're taking out our Me P.1102B. We're going to have a lot of trouble. Well, we've got an XF90 on our team. They've got a specialized XF90 and a MiG-15. 2 planes that are pretty darn good at taking me out, especially the XF90. But we've got some things in our favor, right? We're in a ground attacker, so we can capture actual sectors. And, you know, we've got some things above the IL-40P. The biggest one's going to be speed. I've also got a lot more maneuverability. Technically, the guns are a lot stronger. You can see I'm already at 450 miles an hour, and I've only used, what, 15 seconds worth of boost. There's going to be about a 100-mile-an-hour difference at all times between these 2 planes. And that makes a huge difference when it comes to actually getting to the dang sector that I want to get to. Now, there's some discrepancies once you get there. As you may have already noticed, I do not have rockets on this plane. But that's okay. These bombs are not bad by any means. And like I said, there's more flexibility in this plane than you have in the IL-40P. And I don't want to take anything away from the IL-40P. Let's not make it sound like the IL-40P or that line in general is a bad line. It is not. I think it's an absolute ridiculously awesome GA line. There's just some things I prefer of this plane. The speed and maneuverability. The guns, you have 4 cannons, but they're 30mm cannons. They're the same cannons that you'll have on the Tier 9 and Tier 10 heavy fighters. The 262 HG2 and HG3. And because they are built for heavy fighters, they're actually really good against ground air targets. Something that the IL-40P can do very well, but the 1102 just does very, very well, as you can see. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, buddy. Try that again. Tell me if that works for you next time, too. So, that's like going head-on versus an HG3. So think about that next time you're going head-on anybody, right? Fortunately, we've got the XF90 coming right at us, so not a lot we can do against an XF90. It's literally just built, and this guy's got, Jesus Christ, 7 marks on his XF90. I think he's played it a few times, it sounds like. So there's only so much you can do against a heavy fighter when you're in your ground attacker. But that being said, we can go ahead and we're gonna, is he just gonna camp the mining facility? Oh, lordy. All right. We got one of those players. So, you know, you do have like basically 50% less hit points in this plane than you do the IL-40P. That is a significant amount, 800 plus, that you don't have on hit points. That makes a huge difference in your ability to survive things like that XF90, for instance. And so you need to be mindful of those interactions and what you're doing. It's really important that you're paying attention to your enemies that are coming at you, because you won't have all the HP in the world like you do in the IL-40P. Alright, speaking of which, I need to pay attention to that XF90. Dang it. Alright, so we can respawn back in the center here. The XF90 is playing defense, which is going to lose them the game. So that's a good thing. Let's hope he keeps playing defense. I don't know why he's not attacking, but, I mean, who am I to argue with his strategies? He's the one with 7 marks, so it's gotta know something. Alright, so let's head over to the mining facility then. So we need to pay attention. So we'll send everybody towards him. He's on super low health. Is he heading in our direction? He's heading towards... No, he's not. I'm watching the map here. We still got all our bombs, which is great because we can do a hell of a lot of damage with 4 freaking bombs. Well, we can do a hell of a lot of damage with these cannons. We don't even need the bombs, actually. Oh, drop the bomb anyway. Let's go to the garrison here.
Attention all fighters. Enemy bombers detected.
Still have 3 of our bombs. Still paying attention to the XF90. We'll still send people his way. Actually, we need to knock out that so I can save some HP. I tend to save my bombs for the heavier targets like that. You see, just like a spray of 30mm cannons tends to do the job against the soft targets. The joys of 30mm cannons. That should do right there. There we go. Excellent. Let's reload the bombs. Oh, we're already reloading bombs. Didn't even realize that I had already dropped the extra bomb there, so we're down to just 30 seconds. So even just cruising speed, we're at 300 miles an hour. That is, again, you're just talking 50 to 100 miles an hour difference. We're at 350 just by angling down slightly. And what that means is, even though I don't have the flexibility of rockets, even though I don't have the flexibility of being able to just stick in a sector with all my HP and camp like you would in the IL-40P, what I do have the ability to do is actually just get there and be effective, right? And that means the world sometimes when it comes to actually doing stuff. So let's just knock out that cannon, just AA cannon, just to help our bombers if there's anybody over here bomber-wise. Drop both bombs there, which might be a little bit overkill. Actually, it didn't even do what I wanted it to do. Which is kind of disappointing. Not even kind of disappointing, it's very disappointing. I need to, there we go. Come on. Get within range, please. Step it up. We're losing the battle. Don't want to lose the battle. We might lose the battle anyway, but there we go. Let's see if I can survive this. Can you stop being an idiot sometimes here? Thank you. I guess what we're gonna do is try to survive these guys. Okay, thought he was coming after me. I'm all out of boost, but I think we can still capture this sector. And maybe kill this guy. Well, we helped kill him, but didn't win the battle, unfortunately. Yeah. And so we were still able to be a lot more effective in that battle simply because we were able to get from sector to sector. You know, we were against two planes that were going out of their way to kill us, where we weren't with the IL-40P game. But by being able to just be somewhere to be effective makes a huge difference. Let's take a look at both end results for the battles. All right, so remember this mission is 600,000 ground damage. We've got 73,000 here. I know it's not over the top crazy. I'm more effective in ground attackers. There's going to be a lot of people that are better in bombers, taking out the EF-131 or the Su-10, which I have both of them. Honestly, I could do this damage in those bombers. I just feel like I'm not a very good bomber pilot, so I'm just kind of doing it because those planes are so strong, not because I'm so good. And I kind of feel like I'm doing this ground damage in an IL-40P because I'm better at the plane, not because the plane's super strong in this meta. It's not. We mentioned, right, just how slow it was. I captured 4 sectors. I did 73,000 ground damage. 16 ground targets destroyed, 490 capture points. And I had to think about it each step of the way. What sector is going to be most effective? If I get there, is it already going to be captured? Or do I go towards a sector that looks like the enemy's capturing it, and we'll hope that they actually capture it by the time I get there? And you got to think ahead in a plane like this, kind of like you do in the lower tiers, bombers and ground attackers, just because everything's so slow down there. You can't just go to a sector on a whim because it takes you so long in the IL-40P. Again, once you get there, you own it. It's yours. You will take it. You've got bombs. You've got rockets. You've got guns. You've got a great rear gunner. You've got all this HP. That's going to be your sector. It's just getting there to be effective. Yeah. So let's, part of it was also the enemy team. I don't want to, call out anybody on the enemy team, but just, my abilities to overcome the enemy team were kind of more about the enemy team not being able to overcome me, if that makes sense. I'm trying to be political about it. Anyway, let's take a look at the 1102 game. All right, so same 4 sectors captured. We did 96,000 ground damage, though, and I attribute that to being able to be in the sector to do the damage. Again, the IL-40P is a great plane. Do not get me wrong. I really enjoyed all the Tier 7 and above Soviet ground attackers for their ability to just completely own the sector. It's just getting there that can be frustrating. The 1102B and most of the German planes before it have that speed to get to the sectors, but tend to do a lot less damage when they get there. 265, 329. The 1109, the 1099, before this plane at Tier 9, finally starts being able to do some real damage, but the reload on the bombs is kind of significant, and I felt like sometimes you'd get to the next sector still waiting for the bombs to reload. Finally, at Tier 10, your bombs are reloading very quickly, your guns are doing excellent damage, and you're getting to the sector quickly. And so that extra damage is simply because I was able to get to that sector and do the damage. Not able to win the battle, but you could see, at least I was trying to keep our team in the battle in general. And when you're up against a flight, the most overpowered thing in the game is a flight. Honestly, think about it. If everybody's complaining about XP-54s and B-29Cs, EF-131s, and rightfully so. Specifically, the premium planes are just straight up overpowered, right? And Tier 10 bombers are incredibly strong. But by being able to communicate and have a friendly that can either try to counter or at least harass the overpowered plane that's on the enemy team, you're able to be more effective, and you have one of you capturing a sector while one of you is defending a sector, while one of you is going after that overpowered plane while the other one is going after a sector to capture. And just being on the same page is automatically going to increase your win percentage. I get the question from time to time, what's something I can do to raise my win rate? Easiest thing to do is go in a flight. Automatically increase your chances simply by having 2 people working together. Sometimes you split up and go to different sectors. Sometimes you go to the same sector. It matters what plane you're in and what tier your battle you're in, if you're under tiered or if you're top tier. I highly suggest watch live streams of some people that are in flights and see what they do, listen to their conversations, and you'll be able to pick up on cues of, okay, this is when I'm going to do this is when I'm going to do that. So that's kind of a side note. So obviously I'm still working on this mission. I'm more than halfway there, and I'll continue to do it. I'll be bouncing around to other planes as well. But these are my big damage planes. Tier 9 and above ground attackers, I tend to do a lot of ground damage in. The bombers, like I said, I do high amounts of damage on them. B-29C and then the Tier 9s and 10s. It's just I feel like I'm not the one that's doing the damage. I can do a 96,000 ground damage game in a bomber and only have 3 chevrons, not a Hero of the Sky. Simply because I'm not very effective. Bombers throw so much crap at the ground that you're gonna do the damage. But I don't feel like it's very good gameplay, and in that regard, it's not a very good video. So that's why I'm probably not going to be posting any bomber videos, but who knows? We'll see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the quick synopsis of the IL-40P and the Me P.1102B. 2 planes. I enjoy both of them immensely. I really do like these 2 ground attackers. You just have to temper your expectations of the IL-40P simply because of its speed. And on the flip side, the 1102B, it can get from sector to sector pretty quickly, but it is going to struggle when it comes to actually surviving the encounters. And so you need to utilize your air-to-air capabilities on this plane, which are significant, So that's your survivability more than your actual HP, more than your ability to stay alive as far as your airframe is concerned. So keep that in mind, and or just go out in your flying tank and do flying tank kind of things, and come what may when it comes to your airspeed. I hope you enjoyed these videos. I'll continue to post as the week goes on. I hope you have a great day. Bye.